All right. Well, Spider-Man is no longer with Marvel, and some other news, I guess.
Yeah.
All right. Welcome to the Grizzled Geek podcast, episode 13. Lucky episode.
13.
Lucky
Yeah.
13.
Yeah. I could tell.
Yeah.
Based on these news stories.
Yes, we're going to talk about it. The story that pretty much blew up this week.
Yeah.
The breakup between Sony and Marvel.
Yeah.
Sony Disney.
Yeah.
Over Spider-Man. Where Sony took their toys and went home. And Marvel's left without Spider-Man.
Yeah.
All right. Doug, do you remember where you were when you first heard the news?
Yeah, I was at work when you texted me the news. I was like, what?
What the hell? Yeah, it was awful. I just had to continue work after that. Yeah, so if you haven't heard, Tuesday it was announced that Sony was no longer going to be producing Spider-Man movies with Marvel, that Kevin Feige had been fired from future Spider-Man projects, and that they were taking Spider-Man in their own Sony Spider-Verse. Now, there was a lot that happened in those 2 days. I mean, the first day, it was basically reported that Marvel came to them with a 50-50 split of production costs and profit split. So, and for those of you who are not familiar with this, what the deal was before is Marvel got a 5% and merchandising. Sony paid for the movie. Marvel got 5% of the profit and merchandising.
Yeah. And then they produced the movie.
And produced the movie, yeah. And was responsible for all the talent, hiring all the talent for all the stories, for integrating it into the MCU, which is, no matter what you say, that is a big boost to Spider-Man.
Right, yeah.
I mean, already popular, massively, the most popular franchise in history, they're introducing that character into that.
Right.
And making him an integral part, too, not just like a side character.
Yep.
So that goes a long way towards its success. And then they've made $2 billion for Sony.
Yeah, roughly.
Yeah.
Something like
this
that.
last movie became Sony's highest, highest grossing movie,
Yes.
Sony movie ever. It edged out Skyfall this week.
Correct, yeah.
Yeah. So, Disney went, all right, well, look, we're, I would say, partially responsible for this massive success.
Yeah.
When you look at the numbers of Spider-Man movies made before us and now, we want a bigger cut. Now, of course, 50-50 split is
That's a big jump.
That's a big jump. But that's how negotiations work. They throw out the opening salvo. And there was two conflicting reports on that day. One that Sony outright refused the offer and pulled their toys. The other one is that they came back with an offer and Disney refused it. And
then they left. Then they walked away.
But regardless of what happened, on Tuesday, Sony stocks dropped massively as news of their partnership with Disney came out.
Yeah.
Apparently, investors were banking on Kevin Feige and Disney in this equation. So, what are you gonna do? We got.
Yeah.
That's where it came down on Tuesday. And then Wednesday, Sony came out with an official statement saying basically it's Kevin Feige's fault.
He's too busy, apparently.
He's too busy. He's like, it's too bad. We literally, totally after the massive uproar online and the drop in stock, right?
Right.
They came out in damage control mode, right? And didn't throw Disney under the bus, but pretty much put the blame on them, saying they couldn't come to an agreement, and that they're sad to see that Kevin Feige is too busy with all his other projects to focus on IP that they don't own. So, maybe they left the door open, like, well, maybe we'll work with them in the future. We don't know. But we can press forward without them. And the news came out that day is that Tom Holland was under a 2-movie contract with him, and that Tom Watts, the director, was under a 1-movie contract with him. Well, fast forward to today, and that may not be the case. So, apparently Watts has no longer under contract with him, right? He fulfilled his contract, so he's out. Plus, he's being courted by every major studio right now after his last movie, made $1 billion.
Correct.
Tends to happen.
Yep.
First one made almost $1 billion. Spider-Man movie. The next one did over $1 billion. Mm-hmm. So he's no loss for jobs. He seems pretty loyal. Now everyone's wondering, what does Tom Holland think about this? He having to do movies with Sony? Maybe not. A new report is basically saying today that he does not have 2 movies on his contract. That he has one more movie as an option on his contract.
Okay.
And of course, Tom Holland's not going to come out and comment on any of this, right? While he's still under contract,
except passively.
Except passively by unfollowing Sony on Instagram. I'm pretty much. I think that's a statement. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know about you, but I'm pretty sure that Tom Holland is pretty loyal to his Disney family.
Yeah, considering the relationship he seemed to have with the cast.
Yeah.
And it's a good move to make when you want to make a statement, but you want plausible deniability, like, oh, that was an accident, hit the wrong button, or whatever.
Right.
when it all comes down to it. But
yeah. Enough that who's not quiet about it though is his dad, who came out and spoke out about it, and Jeremy Renner, Hawkeye of all people.
Yeah, he said, "Give us back Spider-Man, please."
Spider-Man.
Yeah, he just said, "Can't come back. Hey, let him come home.
Let him come home,
or something like that,
where he belongs." Let us continue to make you money for just showing up.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's kind of where we're at now. If they don't have Tom Holland, well, put it this way: they're convinced they can move forward with the Spider-Man movie without Marvel. Mm-hmm. Marvel did all the legwork and bring back the character popular, rebooted him.
Yeah.
And why do they think this? They think this because, one, their Venom movie was a runaway success.
Yeah.
It was a runaway success. You look at what that movie cost.
Too.
Yeah, now they can put them together. Look at what that movie cost and what that movie made. But Venom is what I would call a fluke. I think that is a diminishing returns.
Yeah,
I mean,
I didn't particularly hate it, but I didn't particularly like it either.
It wasn't the dumpster fire we thought it was going to be.
No,
it was entertaining.
I think people were gonna. Yeah, it was not a Marvel movie that's got a cohesive story and kind of a deep background and stuff like that. But a lot of people are gonna go, that was a good popcorn flick.
True. Now they also have Into the Spider-Verse, which is an amazing movie, but that was not a runaway success, right? It didn't make near the money that any of the other Spider-Man. It didn't come close to any other Spider-Man movie in money.
Half the next one down, I think.
Yeah, half the next one down, and it made most of that on word of mouth, by people watching it, realizing what a great movie it was, and telling people.
Right.
Now,
you could do some. It's also a very different genre.
Yes.
You can do some really crazy stuff that you can't do in the.
Yes.
Well, you can if you're Marvel, but you can't normally do.
Right.
None of them are going to put a spider ham or.
Right. No. No. But they've got 2 successful Spider-Man movies under the belt. They think they can do this, and to be honest with you, even their crappy Spider-Man movies made money.
Yeah.
Right. They've not had a flop Spider-Man movie. They've had some bad ones.
Right.
They've had ones that were critical failures.
Yep.
Right.
And they've.
And it's been diminishing returns since the height of the Raimi era.
Yeah, and you can say even though they made money, there have been movies that like Spider-Man 2, Amazing Spider-Man 2, whatever it was.
Was awful.
Yeah, and it stopped.
Yeah.
It stopped
it ended
their track.
Yeah, that version of Spider-Man, it ended that.
Yeah.
But they think they can do it without him. But what do they have? They will have to they can't have Happy, no Nick Fury, no mention of Iron Man. They can't have the same suit.
Right.
That's an Tony Stark made suit. Mm-hmm. So they'd have to basically, it'd be a soft reboot with just the same actor. Would it have anything to do with the old Spider-Man movies? I mean, they could bring in like Aunt May and MJ and all those characters, but they couldn't use any.
Well, it's to be seen whether they could Yeah, I don't know how they
I don't
would do
know.
it.
Yeah, because MJ's not Mary Jane Watson,
Nope.
which is what they own
She
the
is
rights for.
Yeah, she's a different character.
Yeah, she's a different character. So
Disney would have an argument to say, nope, you can't use her.
yeah, so yeah, so yeah. There's who knows what they would have. They'd have a skeleton of and they might not have Tom Holland.
Yeah,
Right?
maybe not.
Are they going to try and reboot this again? Like, my favorite memes out of all the memes that came out of this was all the, oh my God, we're going to watch Uncle Ben die for a fourth time. What Sony's famous for.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then imagine who's in charge now. So without Kevin Feige, like, we don't need Kevin Feige. We just follow his, what he's been doing. And who's in charge of it now? Well, that'd be Tom Rothman and Amy Pascal. These are the same people who are responsible for, directly the person responsible for sewing Deadpool's mouth shut in X-Men Origin Wolverine, and the woman who's responsible for Ghostbusters 2015. So that's who's in charge of Spider-Man now. Now, to her credit, Amy Pascal would, if she had her way, would definitely not break up with Kevin Feige. She knows how valuable he is. And like I said, she's been a producer on a lot of these things. She's really smart and produced a lot of great things. Unfortunately, she has no say in that anymore.
Right.
But remember, she stepped down as Sony exec earlier this year. Mm-hmm. But man, Tom Rothman, here's the thing.
Has he done anything good?
He's produced a lot of great stuff, like the Avatar movies and stuff like that for James, Titanic and stuff like that. But
Okay. Being a producer on a James Cameron movie is just a nameplate. You just got a title. You didn't actually do anything.
You didn't give notes to James Cameron. Yeah. And the movies you did give notes to, X-Men Origin Wolverine.
Yeah.
And the notes you gave was like, Deadpool's never going to work, just sew his mouth shut. So that's the guy in charge of Spider-Man now.
Yeah.
Now, a lot of people are saying this is a big, open power play, basically. Like Disney's like, oh, well, see what the public thinks of you taking Spider-Man back.
Might be.
And see how well that's going to go. Oh, your stock's dropped and everybody hates you? To be fair, there is a contingent of fans out there that is actually happy about the move. These tend to be the people that are upset with Kevin Feige over the direction of Phase 4.
Yeah.
The ones who call it the MCU. Yeah, those are the type of people that are upset about it. But, or the people that want to see Disney fall because they've gotten too big.
Yeah.
There's that contingent of people out there that root against Disney.
Yeah, here's the thing is why are you rooting against people who just do a good job?
Yeah.
There's a reason Disney makes as much money as they do and is as successful as they are. Mm-hmm. They do a good job.
MCU has not let me down yet. Now people point out like, well, Captain Marvel was the first one that let us down, and now that's the direction they're going. I have my issues with Captain Marvel, but that movie made over $1 billion.
And wasn't a bad movie.
No.
It had some issues, but it wasn't a bad movie. There are a couple that you could say were objectively not great movies.
Not since Phase 1.
Yeah.
I mean, Thor, Dark World, and
Iron Man 2.
Iron Man 2, but
those are
Phase 1 movies.
Yep.
And since Phase 2 hit the ground running, there hasn't been... And those weren't bad.
Yeah, they were underperforming for Disney movies.
Thor Dark World was the least of all the MCU movies, and I still enjoyed it.
Yeah, it was still fun.
Still fun. And
had some good moments.
Nostalgic when it went back to it in Endgame.
Yeah,
so,
yeah, that was cool.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I don't know. And people who get MCU are idiots. I mean, like, Black Widow has deserved a movie for a long time. Mm-hmm. Should have been the first female-led movie.
Absolutely.
But I think, they thought, until Winter Soldier, they didn't know that kind of a unpowered spy thriller could work.
Clearly.
And then you just have to figure out where to fit it in.
Yeah.
What else are they? What else is going on?
Thor: Love and Thunder.
Yeah.
But here's the thing. Thor:
Again,
Love and Thunder.
we weren't going to get another Thor movie until 3 did so well, and they convinced him to come back.
Yeah.
It's not like you're going to get.
It's not like It's not like Chris Hemsworth is not going to be the star of that movie.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, and female Thor is not going to continue on forward. Yeah. It is unlikely that
Natalie
this is
Portman
anything.
Is not gonna
she's not going to be in the.
It's a one and done story, and that story, if they use any part from the comics, That's a great story.
Yeah.
Right? I don't like the fact they call her Thor.
Right.
I prefer...
They went through this whole explanation of why...
Thor's a title now, I guess.
Thor's a title, but it's not. And
it's not.
So, I mean, that's a comic book thing, not an MCU thing.
Right. There's like a whole line of people going, why did she get the name Thor? I got a hammer.
Yeah.
Why am I stuck with Thunderstrike, for God's sake?
Or Beta Ray Bill.
Beta Ray Bill. A Thunder Frog. But, yeah. So,
And that was actually Thor.
Yeah.
Well, at least the original one was.
The original was. There was a second one that's even goofier. But we're not even going to get into Thunder Frog at this point. But yeah, all this to say that Spider-Man, as of right now, and a lot of people are saying, like, well, they can work things out. They never said that they're... Yes, you're right. Disney hasn't said anything. And Sony, in their damage control, did not come out and say Spider-Man is no longer part of the MCU. But you listen to what they said, right? Read between the lines. Guarantee you, 100%, Spider-Man is no longer part of the MCU.
Yeah.
And Disney is not going to lend them... Here's the thing. Part of the deal they were trying to work out is Disney was willing to let some of their ancillary characters into the MCU, like Tom Hardy's Venom, right? And would offer help producing some of those movies, right?
Right.
So, I mean, which they'd have to if they're going to be in the MCU. They got to clean those things up.
Yeah.
But now we're at, like, hey, man, it's all money. It's all about money. Mm-hmm. Rich people want another thing. I don't think Disney getting a bigger cut when they do the lion's share of the lifting for these movies is wrong, right? They make them, Sony makes their money back, then some. Even at the 30%, they'd still be making what the other movies made without any work.
Let's go full conspiracy theory here.
Oh.
Here's my big conspiracy theory. What if everything they said is about the 50%, they came out on 50% and then weren't willing to budge? They're like, nope, 50% or nothing. And they did that so that Sony would take Spider-Man back, that there'd be a huge backlash, that any future Spider-Man projects would bomb for Sony, and then they could buy Spider-Man back wholesale and be free and clear of, now we have Spider-Man back.
I just don't see them getting rid of Spider-Man. It's their only consistent moneymaker now, right?
Yeah, it would have to really be, it would have to be a huge backlash, and everybody going, I'm not seeing any more Sony Spider-Verse stuff.
You know what also this also means for Sony? The thing that really sucks is they just brought in Miller and Lord to work on TV shows with Spider-Man characters, right? However, Disney could say they can't use Spider-Man in those because they own the TV rights. So they can pull those projects. They can do it with all the ancillary characters, but not Spider-Man. For TV, they own the rights. Merchandising rights, and they own the TV rights. It's like, they can do that. And everyone's saying, like, well, Miller and Lord, if they have Miller and Lord on board, they can make an awesome Spider-Man. They did, they were responsible for Into the Spider-Verse. They can make a live action Spider-Man. Problem is, they have a first look deal signed with Universal for movies. So if they want to make a Sony Spider-Man movie, they have to get out of Universal contract, or Universal can make them work on that project. So there's a whole bunch of red tape lined up in all of this. And when you start unraveling it, it doesn't look good for Sony in the future of Spider-Man in their hands, right? We're going to get a dumbed down either recast or a shadow of what he was in the MCU of Tom Holland Spider-Man with none of the backstory, none of the things, none of the key moments that made him who he is in the MCU.
And you essentially have to scrap, you have to reboot. Because they left him right in the middle of a storyline you can't continue with him not being in the MCU. Yeah. So.
Yeah, I don't know what's. This is like our worst nightmare. We've talked about this from the very beginning. It's the worst case scenario.
Yep. When two different companies are in bed together like that.
Yeah.
But all right, well. Moving away from Spider-Man, let's talk about nostalgia. And the Matrix. There's
this is not the story I thought I'd be hearing about today.
Matrix 4 in the works with original stars. So it's been 20 years since the Matrix came out.
Didn't Neo die in the last one?
Yeah.
I'm like, I'm just saying.
Yeah. Well, we could just hopefully. Well, they probably aren't. It's Matrix 4, so they're not going to ignore.
I kind of wouldn't
3.
mind if it was like a whole Dallas episode. Neo wakes up. It was all in the shower.
It was all a horrible dream.
Horrible dream 2 and 3. No, well, the first half of 2 was right. After that cool ass fight scene, and then before all the stupid explanation in the second half of that movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But all right, so Matrix 4 is happening. Lana Wachowski will direct with Keanu Reeves and Carrie-Anne Moss both returning. However, Lawrence Fishburne likely won't, as the new script calls for a younger version of Morpheus. So they'll probably have to recast him. But what does that mean? If it's a
younger
version of Morpheus, does that mean we've got some time travel going on?
They rebooted him in the Matrix.
They rebooted him in the Matrix, yeah, because they're still in the Matrix this whole time.
Yeah,
everything that happened, even the Battle of.
I can't even imagine.
What was that city that all the humans lived in?
Oh, I don't remember.
I don't know. Yeah, it was kind of dumb.
I tried to put it. It's been 20 years since the first movie came out.
Yeah.
And I've kind of put the second ones out of my mind. I remember bits and pieces.
I just remember the first.
Yeah, first one I remember.
I remember
really
those cool mech suits, but anyways.
Yeah. Wow.
So that's odd. Things are really stacking up for Keanu Reeves. He has got a ton on his plate.
Well, I mean, I don't know, man. I like Carrie-Anne Moss. I love Keanu Reeves, but he's gonna have to make her a vampire or something so she de-ages to look like him.
Yeah.
Because he hasn't aged for ever.
Yeah. Well, and I mean, he could do John Wick movies for the rest of his life at this point. There was the rumor that he was up for a Marvel role, and now you've got this.
And he just finished filming Bill and Ted 3.
Yeah.
The fact I could say that came out of my mouth, and that's real.
Bill and Ted 3, The Matrix 4. Did you ever think either of those would ever happen?
Oh my God. So, wow.
Yeah.
Well, suck for Lawrence Fishburne, but I'll be watching this. And they got one of the original creators back to write and direct it.
Yeah. So. Although, is that a good thing or a bad thing? They were on point for the first one.
They were on point for the first one.
And then it just slowly slid downhill after that.
Yeah.
So.
All right. Odd. All right. Well, in also nostalgia news.
Yeah, true.
News that I never thought I would hear either. We're getting Master of the Universe. Its series is returning.
I'm assuming it's going to be a cartoon.
It's going to be animated, yeah. Animated Master of the Universe series on Netflix. All right. This was announced at PowerCon, which another thing I didn't realize existed. PowerCon is like the He-Man convention, but it's not. It's called PowerCon after He-Man, but it has all 80s.
I have the power.
Yep, but it has Thundercats and all this other 80s cartoon stuff. So it's 80s cartoon con.
That's cool.
Yeah, it'll be returning. The Mightiest Man in the Universe will be returning with a new series on Netflix. This series will be a direct sequel to the original series in the 80s, featuring all the main characters. All right? Now, the biggest news was who's producing and, who's the showrunner for the series? It's Kevin Smith.
Did not know he was a He-Man fan.
Yeah. So, apparently, and everyone was talking about how into the lore he was. I mean, he's a geek.
Oh, I know that, but wow.
Yeah.
That's a deep dive.
And so they're promising a darker, not darker. No, they want to go dark. They want to go. They said it's going to match more the box art on the action figures than the old series, but it's going to be those characters from the old series. It's going to continue that story forward.
Okay.
Right. That series is canon, and this is the, the next spin off of that. So it'll be in that era, that time era. And
is She-Ra canon then too?
I don't know. She-Ra's in the future.
Crossover?
She's way in the future.
Oh, was she?
Yeah.
I thought there was a crossover between them.
Oh, no, She-Ra was back in the day, but there's a new She-Ra.
Oh, that's right, yeah.
There's a brand new She-Ra. They can't go back. They can't have She-Ra.
All right, never mind.
I guess they could because that's not the She-Ra from before. She just, I don't know whether she's a reincarnation or whatever, but she found a sword and she became She-Ra.
Yeah, I don't care.
So it's actually a pretty good series.
Oh, the new one?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
I kind of like the old one in the old days, when they crossed over and stuff was cool.
Yeah, I like She-Ra.
Kind of like the prototype for Hercules and Xena.
Yeah, kind of. Yeah, it was. I don't know. I was into it. I was into it until I got the toys, and all the toys were all like Barbie doll looking, like big, winged
Oh yeah, the
rainbow
She-Ra
ponies and stuff like
yeah.
that. I'm like, what is this?
Yeah.
I mean, the horde characters were cool, but
Yeah.
but anyway.
All right.
Yeah, PowerCon, Master Universe series, Kevin Smith. So they got a whole writers team on this thing. Now this is a little ways off. Like they're just now turned in the script for episode 2.
Okay.
So they're, it'll be in the future. But one of the things that let slip out of this whole interview with all these writers and everything is the fact that Netflix is having a Magic the Gathering series come out because one of the writers just came off working on that, which she probably wasn't supposed to let anybody know about.
Maybe.
But she kind of mentioned it and they're kind of like, oh, oops. So, yeah, there's a Magic the Gathering series on Netflix. That's some rich lore.
It is. And back in the day, I might have been interested, but there's been so much that's gone on in the 20 years that it's been going that it's just kind of gone all over the place.
Yeah.
But all right, final story, big story. Forbes put out their top 10 highest paid actors.
Nice.
And would you be shocked to learn that 4 of the top 10 are members of the MCU?
No, not at all.
Yeah, no.
Sure, RDJ is on there.
Yes, he
Towards
is.
the top, I would assume.
He is number 3 on the list. He's
Number
actually
3.
beaten by Chris Hemsworth. Thor
Hemsworth.
himself is
Wow.
he is number 2 on the list. It should not be a surprise to anybody that Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson is number 1 on the list. And then down at number 8 is Chris Evans, and number 9 Paul Rudd.
Paul Rudd, really?
Yeah. So
Wow.
quite a haul, 41 million.
Nice.
There's
What's Downey's number?
66 million.
66 million.
And probably mostly from
Endgame.
residuals.
Yeah, it's mostly. Has he done anything else this last year?
I don't know.
This Marvel
It's,
residuals.
He got earning about 75 million for his role in Endgame.
Yeah. When you got a percentage of a $2 billion movie.
He may not be returning to the universe. He has forthcoming roles in The Voyages of Dr. Dolittle and Sherlock Holmes 3, which I've been waiting so long for. Cannot wait for that.
Yeah.
So
But Chris Hemsworth, I can see that because he will take any role. And he's great in every movie he does. Just the problem is most of his movies are not great. Don't
Yeah.
live up to his performance in them.
So let's see. He has more than 15 million. He got more than 15 million each time he's played Thor. His latest haul was from Endgame. He's also Netflix film DACA and a Hulk Hogan biopic. And he's also a brand ambassador or whatever for or he has brand deals for Hugo Boss and Tag Heuer. So you see his picture in men's magazines or on the sides of buildings that sell watches or whatever.
Yeah.
Or in Macy's or wherever where
Right.
you see the Hugo Boss stuff.
Pretty man that you recognize.
Yeah, he's got YouTube ads all the time for Hugo Boss. So
Nice.
that's where part of his 71 million.
Good for
comes
him.
from. Yeah.
And Evans is on there too. Huh?
Yep. Yeah. Evans is number 8. Paul Rudd number 9. So.
Paul Rudd one is surprising.
Yeah, and I assume that's mostly from Endgame, but
It's almost as surprising as Adam Sandler number 6.
yeah, Adam Sandler and Bradley Cooper are tied for number 6. Jackie Chan is number 5.
Really?
Yeah, I mean he's super popular in China.
Yeah.
And yeah, so Paul Rudd's earnings, and to round out the list, since we mentioned almost everybody else, Will Smith was number 10.
Will Smith's number 10.
Let's see. For Endgame and Ant-Man, and he's Ideal Home and The Catcher Was a Spy. I don't know what those are. So.
Yeah.
But yeah, so.
Well, there you have
There
it,
you go.
folks. Top 10 richest men in Hollywood. A lot of
highest paid actors.
Highest paid
Yeah.
actors, yeah.
And a bunch of them are in comic book movies.
A bunch of them. All right, that does it for our main stories, guys. On to our smaller stories, our nerd nuggets, our geek bites. First thing, something I'm super excited about. We got confirmation that there is going to be a full Mandalorian trailer for D23.
Yeah.
Which we knew there was going to be some Mandalorian stuff, but full trailer. We assumed there'd be a full trailer since it's coming out this fall.
Yeah. So that's probably Sunday, I think, is the films panel. So D23 starts Friday, tomorrow for us, right now, and runs through Sunday. And we're going to get a ton of...
So by the end of the weekend, we'll have a Mandalorian trailer.
Correct. Yes.
To react to.
And maybe another Star Wars trailer. Who knows? But Lucasfilm has to share the stage with... Because there's only one movie panel, 2-hour movies panel, that also has Frozen, Maleficent, Pixar, and they believe there's probably going to be some announcements about Avatar. That's not guaranteed.
One would hope.
But yeah, we're getting close to, next year is when the first Avatar movie is supposed to come out. So we've got only about 18 months to start building some hype for it. 17 months, something like that.
Nice. All right. Well, what's number 2?
Yeah. Number 2, Bond 25. Daniel Craig's last gets a title, No Time to Die, which may be teasing Dr. No as the villain.
Unfortunately, I won't know because it's a Sony movie. However, I will watch Sony movies. I'm just not going to pay for them.
Well, here's the thing is, it depends on the nature of, are you talking like watching it on Netflix or something like that? Because they'll still get credit for it. So I don't know.
So I actually got to pirate them.
Yeah, I'm not going to do no Sony movies.
No Sony
We didn't really discuss that in the Spider-Man thing.
That's true.
Is that we're going to boycott Sony.
Right, yeah.
So you will not get a review of Venom 2 from us. Sorry.
No, disappointed you all are.
Yeah.
Doug's not going to talk about Venom 2.
Nope.
It's and here's the thing. I understand people that are like, oh, I love Spider-Man. I'll watch it wherever he's at. I understand that. I think this is just for me, and I'm not blaming solely Sony for this, like a lot of people are, or a lot of people blaming Disney solely. There's fault on both sides. There's, greedy rich people, but I'm just not, and I'm not a big fan of Disney buying everything either. Just to kind of point this out here real quick. But I do believe that all the Marvel characters should be together.
Yes.
Right? I'm a big proponent of that. I mean, the fact that you take his family and break it up like you are piecing it out like it is.
Yep.
And they managed to get all the pieces back except for one, and they were willing to share it, and then this is, what we got. So anyway, that's my soapbox moment there. All right. On to Titans Season 2 debut September 6th. And we get a new team poster with updated, more comic-accurate costumes. I would have had a picture for you, but I didn't have time to... after work to get it up here. But you can go check it out. You can see the new Titans poster, and there's obviously the Titans trailer with Deathlock. And they're more... Okay,
Deathstroke?
Deathlock. Deathlock's Marvel, and not nearly as cool as Deathstroke.
Not at all.
Sorry. But this is accurate. It's more comic accurate. Not comic accurate.
Not comic accurate.
You're right.
Although Deathstroke's costume looks pretty dark.
Deathstroke's costume is probably the closest, next to Superboy, which is pretty easy. Jeans and a black T-shirt with a Superman symbol on it.
Yeah.
So that was pretty easy to do. But we got Wonder Girl looking more in costume. I don't think she wore a costume the entire first season.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
No.
So
I don't see them doing that star pattern.
They had the star pattern on her costume.
Did they? Yeah. Oh, wow.
Yeah. And Starfire is more comic accurate than it was before, but that's not saying a whole lot because it was so not comic accurate before. I don't know. Like I said, all the main ones, and they have Jason Todd actually. See, I get confused. I got to remember back. Because he was like paralyzed in the last one, but I think that was part of the dream that Dick Grayson was having because they actually had Jason Todd in the Robin costume on the poster.
Oh, really?
So.
Okay, so he hasn't been.
Yeah, has been
killed yet.
Jokerized.
He hasn't been killed.
Yeah.
Jokerized. Tenderized
by the Joker with a crowbar. Yeah.
Oh man. All right. Justice League star Ezra Miller still insists the Flash movie is absolutely confirmed.
Oh, Ezra.
It's absolutely confirmed to not have a director.
Yeah. I don't even know how many directors they've lost in this project, how many writers, how many times the script's been rewritten, including once by Miller himself.
I was going to say, this should be a no-brainer for, somebody call Mark Waid. Have him write a story.
Yeah, I mean, really.
Man.
The problem is, this movie came out, was announced, and then went through a whole process right in the time that Warner Brothers was trying to figure out what they wanted to do.
Yeah.
So it came out, it was announced way before as part of the whole Justice League build-up, right? Justice League flops. Now they're trying to backpedal. It's like, so it was Flashpoint at one time, then it was, they're going to use that to correct, the Batman being different or whatever, and now they lost Superman. Now they got, we're going to reboot the whole thing, but then Wonder Woman was a big hit, and so was Aquaman.
Yeah.
Which believe me, what you hear is they didn't expect that. They did not expect Aquaman to be a big hit.
I didn't expect Aquaman to be a huge hit.
So,
but Jason Momoa is super charismatic. So
now they're like, okay, well, what? We're in the middle of scrapping this whole thing. What's going on? Some of the characters work, some of the characters don't. We're going to move forward with these characters. Okay, we're not going to have a connected universe at all. And in the meanwhile, they don't know what story to write for Flash, right? They have all these different stories, and like, okay, that was this direction. Nope, no, that was this direction. We're no longer going that way. I will be surprised if I see a Flash movie anytime soon.
Yeah.
Starring Ezra Miller. Yeah. So.
Yeah, it's unfortunate, but.
Yeah, what are you going to do? All right, and comedian Mark Maron is come under fire for not liking Marvel movies. And he was quoted as saying they were for grown male nerd childs. Here's the thing. I saw the clip on Conan with Mark Maron. You got to realize the kind of comedian Mark Maron is, right? And the whole bit was funny. I thought the whole thing was funny. There's a difference between Bill Maher saying that people need to grow up and stop reading comics and going to see movies like that, which he was, very serious. And even if Mark Maron was serious about him not being into Marvel movies, right? You could tell, some of the satire in his humor. The way, and he's always the crotchety old man is his shtick, that's what he's like. And he made with the audience kind of groaned. I was like, "What are you talking about? You guys run things. You can take the hit. You guys run things. I have to drive all the way out of town to a small theater to watch an adult movie where I don't understand the ending." I was kind of confused. Did he die in the end? That was kind of vague. I don't know. Like, those are the kind of movies I like. But yeah, he played up the old man, get off my lawn kind of thing, and it was funny. The whole bit was funny. Mark Maron's a funny guy, and he's pretty talented. So I don't. Like I said, I take these kind of comments, like, there's people that are, like, ready to fight online for anything, right? And sometimes you need to, like when Bill Maher putting down Stan Lee and people like comics and comic book movies. Yeah, he was serious about his,
right.
And not trying to be humorous. But Ezra Mark Maron was just being funny with it. So I don't have any problems with what he said. Yeah, I'm a grown man, you're a child. Yeah. Like you said, we can take the hit. We run things now.
Yep.
All right, folks. That
was a short one today.
It wasn't a short one today. It was short because we scaled back our Spider-Man rant that we had planned. We had a big Spider-Man rant planned. It's like, can you believe this?
Yeah.
And then we realized, all right, well,
One, you're kind of willingly putting blinders on if you're going to say it's all Sony's fault.
It's all Sony's fault. Yeah, exactly. But that's how we feel, folks. We're sad. We're upset. But then you look back on it, we were never supposed to have Spider-Man in the MCU in the first place.
Yeah, it's true.
Right?
Got a lot of good.
I mean, we
got 4 good movies out of him.
4 good movies.
5.
Yeah, 5 good movies out of him. 2 of his own and 2 Avengers movies and a Captain America movie.
Yep.
And he was an amazing character. So, and if we never see him again in the MCU, that'll be sad. But to be honest with you, I don't think that's going to happen.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see how negotiations go from here if they do.
Yeah.
It is weird. It is very weird because it very much seemed like, at least in the Far From Home, that they were pointing towards a very big role for Spider-Man in the MCU, which, I mean, wake up call. Don't do that.
Yeah.
I mean, as cool of an idea as that is, it doesn't make any sense to put a character controlled by another company in the driver's seat for your franchise.
Well, to be perfectly clear, they could have kept Spider-Man as definitely as much as they wanted because the way their contract worked, right? If they want to keep the same amount of money.
Correct, yeah.
Right, if they want to keep the same thing.
Same deal.
Same deal. There's nothing Sony could have done about it even if they wanted to take Spider-Man back. However, because they came and wanted more money, you know. But, and like I said, a lot of people, like every time I read something on it, it's like someone saying like they wanted 50% of the profit. Well, they wanted to come in and take half. I'm like, they wanted to co-finance, right? They wanted to put up half the money to make the movie,
right,
and take half the split with them doing all the work. So basically, Sony would have to put up only half the production budget, and then get half the reward. But that wasn't even what they were going for, right? They would have taken a low. That was their initial volley, right?
Yeah.
So if you take like the 30-70 split, taking 70% of the profit for only putting up half the money and not doing any of the work.
Yeah, you would think that'd be good.
So you have none of the pressure of coming up with the story or making it good, right? You're relieved of all that pressure, and you're still making the money that your old movies made.
Right, and you are virtually assured that you're going to be a 70% partner in a $1 billion movie.
In a $1 billion movie, yeah.
So, I don't know.
Which means you're making, you know, what your good Spider-Man movies did that you had to put all the work into. So, I don't know. I think it seems like and you still get to put your name up there, and you know. Yeah.
So we'll see what happens. We don't know if it's a done deal.
And then you could have played around with Miles Morales in your universe. You know, that would have been the best of both worlds for all of us fans. You know, and both companies, but. Yeah, who knows? Hopefully, someone will budge.
Hopefully, it's a developing story that we haven't seen the end of yet.
Yeah,
it seems pretty doom and gloom right now, but who knows?
Yeah, man. All right, guys. Sorry to be a downer this time, but you know, Spider-Man. I've been depressed for 2 days, so man. Oh well, folks. There you have it. All your nerd news for the week. Well, all the ones we could cobble together after, you know, pining about Spider-Man for 2 days. Did you come up with any other stories? Oh, crap, that's today, huh? There's another story besides Spider-Man?
Yeah, it's all Spider-Man.
It's all Spider-Man all the time. I mean, to be honest, what do you think? What do you think about the Master? Were you ever a Master of the Universe fan?
Yeah, I watched the cartoon occasionally, but wasn't like super into it.
I had all the toys when I was a kid.
Yeah, no, I didn't own a single Master of the Universe.
It was the one toy line that I had all of them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Star Wars and G.I. Joe were the only ones Transformers. So, a lot of them.
I had a lot of them.
I had a lot of stuff.
We were into all that.
That was the golden age of collectible toys, figurines and figures and stuff like that. People always say, there's a lot of naysayers like one of the ways you can see that Lucasfilm is doomed or whatever is that, Star Wars toys don't sell anymore. Well, I don't think action figures sell much anymore.
Yeah, they're not like they were popular like they were back in the day.
It's not like it was in the day when it was like you would have an entire aisle dedicated to just Star Wars toys. Yeah. And then you'd have another one that was all like the wrestling figures or the Transformers or there was a ton of action figures. It hasn't been like that for a really long time. So you can't point to that as a doom and gloom for certain franchises.
Yeah, because things are different now. Yeah, consumers are different. Kids don't play with the kind of stuff that we played with. And here's the thing: do you ever watch that Netflix series like was it Behind the Toys or whatever?
Occasionally.
Did you watch the Master of the Universe episode one?
Yeah, I watched a few of them where that was
one of my favorites. The Master of the Universe one.
That one was and it's not a unique story. The cartoons in the 80s, especially, and to a degree now, were vehicles for selling toys to kids.
Right. Well, they didn't even have that.
Yeah.
So we can thank Star Wars for those. Spoiler alert for the episode. So you can thank Star Wars for He-Man. Because they lost the Star Wars contract. Mattel needed something. Like, we need something. So a guy took a figure and just kept molding clay on him until he was ridiculous proportions. And who's that? That's the man. It's He-Man. And they pretty much pulled an action figure line out of their butts and then proceeded to sell it the same way. So people are like, "Oh, what's the story about this?" And, well, it's like, "Well, it's not a known property. How are you going to sell this thing?" It's like, "Well, did I tell you there's going to be a comic book associated with? We're going to put a mini comic book in every." And they were like, see out the seat of their pants, so they're like, "Oh, they need to go back. And go, all right, how to do a comic book? We need to find people to do comic books for us." And so they started pitching it to another company, and they're like, well, "I don't know, the comic books. Not everyone's kids are going to read this." He's like, "Oh, did I also mention we're doing a Saturday morning cartoon with these action figures?" And they're like, "You are? Sign us up." So they pre-sold all these things, and then they went backwards and went, "Okay, we need a cartoon."
That's funny.
So they went to the Filmation guys, and they're like, "We need this cartoon with this IP," and they just let them have free reign what they want to do with it. Like, here we go, and they had a crazy hit, and they outsold Star Wars for like 3 years straight. It was the #1 selling toy line for 3 years straight, and crazy. I had all that stuff, and I'm super excited now because I get to see a Kevin Smith He-Man show. I just can't. I just want to see what he's going to do with Fisto. So you have Kevin Smith, the character like Fisto, to work with.
Yeah. Ram Man.
Yeah. Oh man, this is just, it writes itself right there. All right, folks, that does it for today. About 15 minutes earlier than we normally do, but I think we've pretty much rambled on about all the stuff we can ramble on about.
Yeah, pretty much.
And still stay conscious. So thank you once again for listening to us. For those of you listening on the podcast, well, for those of you not, the podcast will be available on Stitcher and iTunes. And for those of you listening on those and want to see our faces, you can catch this podcast on our YouTube channel, YouTube/The Grizzled Geek. YouTube.com/The Grizzled Geek. Where we do, videos like this every week, plus reaction videos, plus, occasional random goofy stuff. So check it out. If you want to support us, the big thing you can do is like and subscribe. Tell your friends about us.
Yep.
Trying to get some more subscribers out there. But if you want to financially support us, you can do that by buying our T-shirts.
Yeah, like this one.
Like the one I'm wearing. I'm actually wearing one today.
Yep.
In a link down below, our Teespring store, you can shop through our Amazon affiliate link, which is on, if it's not down below, it'll be on any of our other videos. Or you can click onto our Patreon link, which is going to be at the end of this video, and support us there. So really appreciate it, guys. Trying to think, I'm missing something.
Nope.
That's it. That's all. We got it all. That's all the links.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Thank you very much. We will see you again next week. Ooh,
maybe.
Trying to think. Maybe. We'll let you know. There'll be announcements on Facebook.
Come out on Facebook and or Twitter.
Right. And as always, we're going to be sung out by our local folk punk rock hero, Andy Warpigs. So we'll see you next week, guys. Bye.
She's fucking cool. She rocks her kids on
All right, a quick shout out at the end here to Milk Mustache for leaving comments down below, even though they didn't show up on our screen.
Yeah. I just happened to notice them on my phone while I was watching the live stream, and I was like, oh, wait, somebody's commenting. So hopefully, if you're still here, I answered your questions.
Sorry, buddy. Sorry about that. See you next time, guys.